Joining me now, Charlottesville attorney. Jonna, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So very tough words, tough talk from Jeff Sessions there, the Attorney General.
Yes, but he's being a bit cautious. As he said, we have to develop the facts. Here's the good news. We don't have to pick one or the other jurisdiction here, Sandra. We don't have to either prosecute him by Virginia or prosecute him in a federal court. We can do both. And let's not lose sight of something. As the facts develop to determine whether or not he can be prosecuted as a domestic terrorist, if his foot was on that gas pedal intentionally, he's a murderer. And Virginia can handle that. That's almost a cut and dried murder case. Where I take a little bit issue on the state side is, right now he's charged with second-degree murder. That doesn't make any sense. He should be charged with first-degree murder. So Virginia should be full speed ahead, elevate the charge to first-degree murder, and start prosecuting him while the feds develop what they need to do in order to prove a domestic terrorism charge.
So when I go back to Jeff Sessions' original words there, it very well could be a civil rights violation or a hate crime, and there might be other charges that could be brought. Right. I want to get to the FBI's definition of a hate crime. It's important to know it is a criminal offense against a person or property motivated in whole or in part by an offender's bias against a race, religion, disability, sexual orientation, ethnicity, gender, or gender identity. So no decisions have obviously been made, but is the bar set a little bit higher for that?
Well, it is, because you need to connect the dot, right? We have some evidence right now that the suspect in Charlottesville was affiliated with a hateful group, right, neo-Nazis. We have some evidence of that. We need to connect more of the dots to determine whether that motivated him. When you're trying to prove a regular old murder case, you don't need to prove motive. When you're elevated to a hate crime or domestic terrorism, motive is what the charge hangs on. So the feds will have a time trying to prove that that was the reason for his decision to mow down a bunch of people.
So there's a huge collaborative effort underway to determine all this. He says, as for how soon the federal government might file charges, Jeff Sessions, I don't feel like we should, if we feel like we have to do it in a matter of hours or even days. So what is the time frame here, Jonna?
What's the hurry? There is none. I mean, the statute is very, very long. They could let this state case play out. He could be convicted in state court and they could file charges later on. That wouldn't be a problem. So there's no race here to determine when they have to do it. And in fact, the slower they are, the more methodical they are, the better chance that those federal charges will stick. We don't want to charge somebody and not be able to prosecute. Because the thing with the hate crimes and domestic terrorism, it will elevate his sentence if he's convicted. In Virginia, that's the one thing that I don't like. Right now, if he's convicted of second-degree murder, he's looking at up to, but no more than, a 40-year prison term. That is not enough.
Asked whether it appears the attack was pre-planned, Jeff Sessions says, I'm not able to comment on that. We'll have to bring those facts out at the appropriate time. It seems like it's going to be quite some time before we see all this play out.
Because, and maybe it should be, look what they have to dig into. To prosecute him as a simple murderer, they have to prove that he intended to act as recklessly as he did and take a life. It's fairly straightforward. To prove that there's a connection between his affiliation and what motivated him, what do they have to do? Go into his computers? Is there a manifesto someplace on there? Does he have a diary? What about his Facebook posts, his social media, his friends, interview his entire purview? Like, what did he wake up that day and say to himself? Did he say, I'm going to mow down people because I am a neo-Nazi and I want to send a message to the government and to the people? Or did he wake up that day, get in the car, and, you know, I don't know, accidentally put his foot on the gas? We don't know those facts yet.
All right, we'll keep following it. Charlottesville, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Good to see you.